Dear fellow coders, welcome to Untitled Coder. In this coding tutorial, I'm going to teach you how you can deploy your static website on Hugging Face Spaces. Until very recently, you could upload only a Streamlit or a Gradio application on Hugging Face Spaces for free. But very recently, this has changed that Hugging Face is allowing us to upload our static website. So this static website could be anything from a very simple HTML page to anything that has been an output of a static website generator like Hugo, Jekyll, or Markdown. So anything that you talk about in this space, static website generator. So usually whenever you have seen about static websites, you would have seen that people usually host it on GitHub pages. But right now we have got one more option in this space, which is Hugging Face Spaces. And this tutorial is going to be particularly about how to deploy your own HTML, CSS, JavaScript content on Hugging Face Spaces. And in this tutorial, I'm going to cover it in two different ways. One, if you have the code on your local machine, how do you deploy it on Hugging Face Spaces? Two, if you have the code on a GitHub repository, how can you set up a continuous integration and continuous deployment, a CI/CD pipeline, so that you can edit something on GitHub and then it can reflect on Hugging Face Spaces, the portfolio where you have published this. So if this is something that interests you, let's get started. So the first thing that you have to do is you have to log in on Hugging Face website with your username and password. And after you do that, go to Spaces. And after you go to Spaces, click New Space. And after you click New Space, you would reach this place where you can actually see that there is a static website option. So I'm going to call it simply, one little coder. I should simply call it a portfolio, I think. So I'm going to call it a portfolio, and then I'm going to make it public, and then to create a new space. Click New Space. Okay, I have to select the SDK static and then click the new space. Once you do that, you're going to get a very basic information so this says welcome to your static space. You can modify this app directly by editing your index.html in the files and versions tab. Also, do not forget to check the spaces documentation. So when we go to this files and versions, you can see that by default it creates 4 files. One is your git attributes. This is basically to deal with your LFS and all those git related things. The second is you have a readme file, and the third is you have an HTML file, and the fourth is you have a style.css, a CSS file to stylify, or whatever you would like to call, beautify your HTML file. So the most important thing for you is when you go to the readme file, you can actually note that the SDK says static. For Streamlit and for Gradio, you would have seen this saying Streamlit or Gradio, but right now, because it's a static website, we are talking particularly about a static SDK. So this is one thing that you have to keep in mind if you do not have this by default. So let's say like you're going to create something from scratch. You just missed all these files. You need to still make sure that you have this YAML content at the top of your readme file, that you're going to upload it to this repository, which is very important for Hugging Face Spaces to know what kind of an SDK that you want to use, an engine you want to use. So this is quite important. If you do not use the files that are pre-created, then make sure that your readme file has an SDK. But if you have it, then we are well and good. So now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to quickly show you a local code. So this code is something that I've got from this repository from Cyberboy Ayush. So this is a simple portfolio repository. I'm going to show you on my local machine. I've modified it for like one little coder for my profile. So I've got 3 documents in there. I've got a style.css document, I've got a license document, I've got an index.html document. So to quickly show you what is there, I'm going to go. So this is currently running on port 5500. So I'm going to go here and then show you the port. So on 5500, you can see that it is running it on index.html. So I've got like a banner page, and then I've got like a couple of details. Hey, I'm one little coder from India. I like coding R, Python, data science, and machine learning. And then I've got a bunch of icons there, and then I've got some other information here and there. So this is what we are going to deploy to the Hugging Face Spaces. So the first way I'm going to show you is like the easiest way. So you do not need any huge coding background. You do not need Git experience. You do not need much of this typical programming stuff. All I'm going to do right now is I'm going to copy my files from my local machine, drag it and drop it on this particular folder or repository, so that we can have those files in place. So I'm going to go click add files. So add file and click upload files. After I do that, I'm going to copy my files, copy my license, copy my files like this. I basically copy like this, and then from here I'm going to drag it and drop it here. And after I do that, you can see that one file is getting updated, and then you can see that go to the file section and then see if everything is updated. No, only one file is updated, so I'm going to come back here and then say update the I have to come back and say add file, upload file, and I'm going to say upload the style.css, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the license. Upload it and go to the portfolio. Now you can see that your portfolio is already running, and you can see whatever you just saw on my local machine. You can actually see this, like you have all these things in place. Like for example, if I want to make a change, to add it here, welcome to One Little Coder, save it, come back, and then go to the files, upload file, and then copy this file or drag and drop this file and then drop it here. Updated the main statement, and then commit it. And after I commit it, I can go back here and then I can see it says welcome to One Little Coder. Basically, this is how you upload your portfolio as static website portfolio, and then this portfolio is live there on Hugging Face Spaces. Now you want to share it with your friends, you want to add it to your resume, you want to do anything, you can. All you have to do is copy this URL and then you share it with the entire world and you are good to go. But now the next part comes in, not just deploying it once, but what if you want to deploy it continuously? Like if you want a CI/CD pipeline, what do you want to do? So for that, I'm going to make a slight change in the workflow that we did. So instead of just simply publishing it here, I'm going to publish it on a GitHub repository, and I'm going to connect this space with that GitHub repository. So for that, first I'm going to show you the Hugging Face documentation, spaces documentation. So if I go to the spaces section, so I can see learn more about spaces, and when I see learn more about spaces, I can go to the read documentation, and in the read documentation there is an important aspect of connecting it with Git. So if I say git, so you can see how I can connect my space with a GitHub repository, like with my local if I have the content on my local machine, I can remote add this to this particular space and then I can push it. But the workflow that I'm going to show you is not from my local machine. I'm not trying to push it from my local machine. I'm going to connect this Hugging Face space with a GitHub repository, so that GitHub repository will automatically push content to this Hugging Face space whenever there is a change made, and that is done through this GitHub Action. So this GitHub Action is going to run every time we are going to make a pull request to this, and then it's going to update this Hugging Face spaces. So this is the workflow that will help us make it easier for the CI/CD pipeline. So what I'm going to do for that is, first thing that we need is we need the details of the spaces that we just built. So we already know. So like, where is the space? I can go and create a new space. I can say portfolio GitHub. Okay, I'm going to call it a static website. I'm going to create space. So we have portfolio GitHub. So this is how it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and then create a new GitHub repository. And okay, so I'm just opening my GitHub. Hopefully I've logged in. Yeah, create a new repository. And after I create the new repository, I'm going to give the same name. What was the name I just gave? Portfolio GitHub. I'm going to copy it, come back here, paste it, keep it, and then connecting portfolio with Hugging Face spaces. Spaces, and I'm going to just add it with the README, right? And when I add it with the README, I need to make sure that that README that I have it here is also available there, because of the same reason that I said, which is the YAML file at the top. So what I'm going to do as a first step is to copy this README, copy everything, come back here, edit this README, and then I'm going to add this README here. So I'm going to completely replace it with whatever we just saw and commit the changes. So at this point, I have the README ready. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to upload all my files. Instead of uploading it on Hugging Face spaces, I'm going to upload it here. So which means I'm going to come here and then select all this and then say drop to upload your files. So we have our index.html, we have .style.css, and we have our license file. So whatever you want to add the commit message, so let's add the files. So at the end of this process, you would have 4 files in your GitHub repository. So now our first objective is to make sure that we can sync this GitHub repository to the Hugging Face spaces. So for that, the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to your Hugging Face spaces or Hugging Face even the account. Go to the section, go to your profile, go to settings. In the settings, you need to go to access token. In the access token section, you need to create a new token. If you do not have a token, existing token, you need to create a new token and you need to copy that token. Okay, so this is quite important. Do not share your token with anybody. So let me repeat it again. Go to your profile, go to settings, and settings, click access token. In access token, you have to create a new token. If you do not have like this, create a new token, and what is the role of the token, and then copy this token. And now go back to the repository, GitHub repository, go to the settings. The settings, you have to go to the secrets. In the secrets, you have to call it hf_token and paste the token. Okay, so you have to paste the token and then click add secrets. Do not show your token or share your token with anybody. That is quite important. And after you do this thing, now you have to go to actions, which is where you're going to add a GitHub action, and you're going to say set up a workflow yourself. So what GitHub has already identified is that it has identified a static website. So it's suggesting a Jekyll workflow. But what we need to do is we need to set up a workflow manually. Click to set up a workflow. And for this YAML file, we are going to copy the YAML file from the documentation, which is this, and come back here and paste it completely. So it says syncing. The name of the workflow or action is called sync to Hugging Face Hub. And then you're saying whenever there is a push, you push the main branches. Like in the main branches, like when do you want to trigger this? Whenever there is a push on the main branch. And what do you want to do? You want to basically, like run this git command, and you're going to use hf_token. And for this username, I'm going to say this is my username, the username with which I log in, and this is my full space name. So what is my space name? I'm going to come back and go to spaces, go to the space that I recently created. Where is the space that I created? So I can go to the dashboard, go to my profile and click this and copy this and come back here and then paste the name, and we are ready at this point. So you have the username, you have the token already, environment variable setup, you have the spaces name, which is like in our case it's portfolio GitHub ready. And I'm going to say click commit. So create a new file, and we have to wait for the action to run. So come back here to the action, and let's see this action, which is sync to Hugging Face Hub. So let's wait and see. As you can see at this point, this workflow GitHub action has failed. And when we go inside and then start debugging it, like you can basically click this and then try to understand what is the error. And the error is primarily because there are files available already on the remote repository where you're trying to push, and you either have to pull it first and then you have to push it, otherwise it should be empty. But what we can actually do alternatively is we can force the push. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to, like, maybe because this is the first time, it's completely fine, I'm going to go edit the workflow, view the workflow file. I have to edit the workflow file, and then instead of just simply saying push, I'm going to say force push it, and then I'm going to again force push enable, and I'm going to commit the changes. This should ideally push it even when there is file there in the remote. So you can see force push enable, it is in queued and it's going to start running now. And after it runs, it wouldn't take a lot of time, it takes a couple of seconds. Then we can see the status, whether all these files are getting pushed to our remote repository, which is, like as I speak, you can see the green color tick mark, which means the push has been successful. I'm going to go back here and then refresh this, and then I'm going to see that 28 seconds back there has been a push. And force push enabled workflow, did it replace the files? Doesn't look like it has replaced the files. Let me refresh it and see. No, I think it didn't replace the files, did it? Oh yeah, it did. It replaced the file. So we have welcome to One Little Coder. Hey, I'm One Little Coder from India, and all these things are in place. Now I'm going to show you the coolest part of this thing, like which I believe the coolest part. So now whenever I want to edit this, I don't need a local machine. I don't need to have VS Code, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this repository and I'm going to say github.dev. I'm going to just change it, because now I'm going to get a VS Code editor within my web browser. It could be my iPad, it could be my Android tablet, it could be even my Android phone, it could be anything where I just have a browser. All I have to do is change my github.com to github.dev, and then let's say I'm going to make some change. So I'm going to show you how I can make some change, and then that would get reflected there. So I'm going to go click the index.html. I like coding, R, Python, machine learning, everything. I'm going to say new paragraph text. I'm going to say and close the paragraph text. Oops, it's already closing. I love Hugging Face, and here is my profile, and I'm going to add the link. ahref href is equal to profile, and src is equal to, I have to copy my profile details. Where do I have profile details? My profile details here. I have to copy this profile detail, come back here, paste it. Oops, I didn't paste the entire thing. I have to paste it. Yep, and then now save it. So I have this here. I'm going to come here. This is basically like your VS Code source control. I'm going to say commit message. I'm going to say commit message updated the Hugging Face message, and we are basically committing directly to the main branch. And then let's see what happens. So changes have been committed since you started editing, so you must merge, sync, pull, push. Okay, let's do that, and then commit, so you can see the latest message available. So let me go to the github.com code and then see if that message is available. I can see that 20 seconds back I've updated the Hugging Face message. So now, which means let's see whether the action has run. So you can see the same commit message, the action has successfully ran, and I'm going to go click my portfolio GitHub, and then I'm going to see whether Hugging Face is there. Yes, I love Hugging Face, and here is my, okay, that is primarily because my HTML is a little rusty, so I didn't add the HTML tag, the anchor tag properly, but you can see that this has completely worked. I can basically make any change that I want. Like if I want to change this logo to something else, for example, just quickly to show you once again, I'm going to go back to my VS Code here, which is using github.dev, and then let's say I want to pick an image. I'm going to pick an image that says Lego Batman PNG, and if I want a different image, let's say this image is there. Maybe if this image looks nice, I can just copy this, copy. Yeah, I can copy this image address. I can come back here. Instead of this image, I can place a different image. I don't know how big is this going to become, but yeah, so I'm going to save it, and when I save it, it will directly commit. So I'm going to say change the Batman logo, and then click OK, and at this point it's going to commit. So it has been committed. Let me just check it quickly, or I can even come back and then see here. I'm going to refresh this and then see if the logo has been changed. It's still not changed. That's strange. Maybe the code has not ran. Okay, 17 seconds back the code has changed. Come back here, refresh this, and you can see the new Batman. Okay, that looks amazing. The new Batman looks amazing. I don't know which Batman looks amazing, but yeah, every Batman is amazing. So this is basically how you upload, or how you set up a CI/CD pipeline for your static website on Hugging Face Spaces. So in this tutorial, if you remember, first we saw how to simply drag and drop and upload our static website to the Hugging Face Spaces, because this feature is available. But also in the second part, we learned how to do CI/CD pipeline. So what does it mean? Now you might ask me a question like, why do I have to learn the CI/CD pipeline? The reason why the CI/CD pipeline could be really helpful is there are a lot of static website generators. For example, there is a website where you can learn about a static website generators, and you would be shocked to see the amount of static website generators that we have. Like, you can write a book with that, you can publish a blog with that, you can do a lot of things. Like, you can see all these items that are available. So what does it mean is, it means if you install any of this on your GitHub repository, so there are templates available, you can fork it and then you can start using it. If you install any of this on your GitHub repository, now all you have to do is connect that GitHub repository with your Hugging Face pages. Well, you have successfully deployed your static website on Hugging Face pages, which is now powered by one of these static website generators like Hugo or a Gitbook, or like whatever that your favorite static website generator is, and that is quite useful. Like, you can have your blog on Hugging Face pages now. You can have your visualization. Let's say you have an arg markdown file, you can have your visualization on like analysis report on Hugging Face pages, and the potential is enormous because you're basically publishing or rendering anything that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and that's going to be really, really amazing. And I'm going to explore this space more. So if this is something that interests you, please let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, I would love to see the portfolio website that you have uploaded to your Hugging Face pages. Once again, thanks to Hugging Face for making this feature and announcing it on Twitter. I was really excited to see this thing. This should be really good for a lot of people who are looking to improve their profile and portfolio. Now, not only that they can have their model, not only they can have their web application, but they can also have their portfolio, like a resume, on Hugging Face pages itself. And this is really amazing, thanks to the Hugging Face team. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you stay safe and happy coding.